Ah. Podcastica. Welcome to the show. My name is Alex.
And I'm Lizzie.
And today we got our talisman in hand because we got some explaining to do. We are talking from episode 2, season 2, The Kindness of Strangers. And Lizzie, oh my God.
Oh my God.
If you wanted some monsters, you got yourself some monsters. If you wanted yourself some drama, you got yourself some drama. And the best part is nobody messes with Donna.
Nobody
messes with Donna.
If I didn't already worship her, I would be. Did you see her?
Oh, we're going to get to all that. I know you want to start, doing all that good stuff. And folks, if you enjoy the podcast, and really, how could you not enjoy this podcast?
Yeah.
And we want to thank everybody for all the downloads and all the looks and all the stuff that we've been doing.
Even the dirty looks. I mean, I saw that.
I know. And if you want, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can hit the subscribe button. If you're on our Instagram, our Facebook, but mostly if you are on listening as a regular audio podcast, give us a review. And if it's a 5-star review, you know what? That's even better. But folks, we are talking from season 2, episode 2, The Kindness of Strangers. And I don't even know where to start with this. So, Lizzie, why don't you start like you always do? And maybe I'll get a word in edgewise because we actually have some really good feedback at the end. And I can't wait to get to it all.
All right. Our feedback, though, right now is just for episode 1, though, right?
We have feedback for episode 1, and we have one piece of feedback for episode 2 that just got in. She just sent it to me. So we are going to talk about that as well.
All right.
So where do you want to start?
Again, I broke it up by locations. So we've got Boyd, the house, the post office, the bar, bus.
Okay.
Diner,
so where do you want to start?
I'm just going to get the little ones out of the way.
Okay.
So, although the post office kind of goes, all right. So I'm going to start over at the house and get the tough part out of the way first, because we love us some Tom. Reed Price is a god.
He's so amazing.
I love him. And
I was lucky enough to, I Instagrammed him, and I'm like, dude, what did you do to piss somebody off? And
what did he say?
And he's like, well, it's what happens. I'm like, I felt so bad. So what was going on was, for those of you that are playing at home, you've got Jim, you've got Tom, and you've got the new character Brick, and they are in this collapse. That's the name. Yeah. You can't make it up. And
I was like, Brick.
I know. It's like, okay. And, you have to have a red shirt. So, they're all in that. And, Jim is as cool as a cucumber. I mean, Ian Bailey only plays cool as a cucumber character.
He does.
And of course, Tom is just trying to hang out. And I love the line that Tom said. I mean, not Tom, that Ian / Jim says to Tom. He's like, so have you ever had to stay outside like this? And Tom's answer was like, even if I did, would you believe me? Kind of thing. Like, they're in this house, and all they had to really do was stay quiet.
Yeah.
They would have been fine. But of course,
if it was just Tom and Jim,
they'd be fine.
It would still be Tom and Jim.
Right.
And we just ended up with Jim.
So of course, Brick has to, get all freaked out because he's new to the area.
Has no idea. And it hurts. He's in a lot of pain.
Of course. And he starts wiggling and doing and da-da-da-da-da-da. next thing you know, and they keep cutting in and out with the storyline, but they had him calm down, and then he got a little anxious, and then he calmed down, then he got anxious, and then basically he tried to get out. Monsters heard them, and then all I remember seeing was Monster coming at him, flying at Tom, and it was over. Um,
Yeah.
you know, and Tom was trying to actually get to him at
But
one
he
point,
couldn't.
because he was looking over his shoulder just to try to,
Yeah.
when you touch somebody, it makes you feel better, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
It was not helping.
on a complete side note, for those of you that are uh fans of Reed, he is also, if you live in Canada, he is in another show right now as a bartender, because that's his niche, on Sunday nights. So he actually competes against himself. So
The show is called Sullivan's Crossing, and
yes.
I actually saw something today that said that we are going to be able to get that show through Hulu.
Well, that's awesome, because we're gonna have to actually support him and his goal of being a
Yes.
bartender in the acting world for the rest of his life.
I'm going
Um,
to message him right now.
okay, that said, you know, we know that Tom is gone, but at the same time, we there was a question for a hot second: did Jim survive it? And it was great that the way they cut it. Now, do you want to go? Do you want to go to the diner next? Because I think that would be the best transition
It
into.
might be. I thought this was going to be all my decision, but apparently not. Um, so that's okay. I'm not holding. I'm not.
That's fine. I just figured it would be a nice
It is a
segue.
nice segue
Where
because
did you
it.
want to go, Lizzie?
Yeah, I
Where do
do
you want
want
to
to
go?
go into the diner.
Okay.
So it is utter chaos inside that diner. Donna is doing her best to control the situation while she's looking at everybody. Um, Part of the diner scene is we're looking at Kristy, and now we know her name is Mary,
Yes.
and they are talking alone in the stock room, and it's such an emotional, and it's awkward because Mary is like, oh my God, you didn't disappear. You just decided to stay in this town
With the cult.
with a cult and not come home. And that is her take on it. She's like, all this time, you were 2 hours away.
Right.
Now, for them, it's 2 hours away from Michigan. We know the Matthews family was driving in Arizona.
Right.
So, but not all this information is being shared.
Right.
So,
Not yet, at least.
not yet at least. But it's interesting because I think Kenny was in Florida or Texas when they
Yeah,
were
I forget. I forget exactly where he was, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I know the listeners will tell us exactly where he is.
Yeah.
Uh,
But at any rate, her point was like, you willingly didn't come home. You were
right.
meeting me for lunch. I sat there and waited. I ate all the breadsticks, ran up a big tab, and you never showed up. So she's on that thing. And then Kristy's looking at her, and yeah, that's what makes sense, right? Like if this was a real world and reality,
Right.
that's how it would look. But Kristy just breaks down,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to imagine she lays the whole thing out. We have no idea what she says to her. All
Mm-hmm.
we know is that Mary comes out of that stock room, passes by Kenny, who is making tea. By the way, what do we do when someone is upset? We offer
Yeah.
them a hot beverage.
And we've learned that in many, many, many places, whether it's the Big Bang Theory.
That's the only place I've
You always offer a hot beverage, and
always
now
offer them
Kenny,
a hot
you
beverage.
always offer them a hot beverage, and the reunion was great for them because they're starting to deal with that. But Kenny knows one thing: long night, I'm going to be making some tea because that's what Mom always says,
Yeah.
and that's what it's all about. And it's I feel bad for him because he's the sheriff, so to speak. He's the deputy, and he's got to step up, as Donna said, and he's doing the best he can with the tools that he has. And right now, he's got a girlfriend that he's losing to another woman, and he is all over the place. But what I do like about not that particular scene, but in the diner, is how he ends up comforting Hannah. I'm sorry, Julie.
Yeah.
Um, and
Well,
and
he's not comforting. It's not that he's comforting her. He's doing his job as a sheriff
well, yeah,
because he's stepping up. He's stepping up. They don't know where Boyd is. Boyd could be dead, because
right.
all the animals are loose that night. So he's stepping up as the sheriff. He's trying to save Julie's life along with anyone else that might go running outside trying
Now,
to help her.
my question for you is, I mean, Julie's supposed to be how old in this?
I think she's 16 or 17.
Okay, and how old do you think Kenny is? Just wondering.
He's in college, so maybe 21 to 22
And the one thing that I did want to point out in this particular,
or 18 to 22.
yeah, I mean, they're kind of similar, but they're kind of not. One thing that I noticed about this episode, actually both episodes, Julie has matured a tremendous amount.
Yes.
Like,
Visually, yeah. Like visually, she looks older from season one, not in a bad way, but just like she does look like she's matured. Um,
but she's a player now, meaning she's part of the from. She's part of the Fromily, as opposed to being just a person that was being a little brat when she first walked in. She's really part of
well,
the
she's grown up. Like I
yeah,
don't know how long they've been there, but they're not on vacation with a flat tire. They are stranded someplace that is utterly bizarre.
right.
Um, and, like they've gone through some extreme changes. She's had some independence from her parents and then ended up back with them. Um, they, you can't meet somebody in that town that hasn't gone through a lot. Um, and
Absolutely.
she's been forced to grow up. The only
And
one that seems kind of in the same mindset that they were in when they arrived is Ethan,
yeah.
because he's like, it's a quest. That's all this is. And no one's listening to him.
Well,
Not
no,
really.
the reason why I bring up the whole Julie thing is when this all happened, she was living at Colony House. She did all that. She was part of that collective, so to speak. Everything just happened. You know, I loved how they just respect her as a person and not as a kid. And she is a valued member of the community. When she ran in to go get her dad, I just think that it was a really nice thing. And I think that Kenny, in this case, yes, he was doing his job, but at the same time, he's watched her
Learn to
mature.
accept this.
Yeah, yeah,
And
learn to accept this.
I don't
Learn,
think we can say that. I don't know. I think mature is kind of a stretch.
when I
Not
say
that she
mature,
hasn't, but just she's come to accept the situation and all that it entails.
yeah, when I
So,
meant
but he
immature, I meant
doesn't treat her like a little kid.
exactly mature in the land, so to speak, and from. That's what I meant. But yeah, I mean, yeah, she's learned to accept it, and she's part of the group now.
Yeah.
Um, that said, a lot other things happen at the diner because everybody is scurried in, and okay, now we've got Donna and her henchmen, so to speak, with guns, saying,
Yeah.
"Everybody calm down."
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to calm down when people have rifles trained on you. And the thing is, like, the sun, I don't know, the sun rises pretty quickly, the sun sets pretty quickly once it gets in that track. And so they are all in that diner, and they've pulled like curtains across out in the vestibule.
Mhm.
Um and there are people that want to get out. And during this time that Kristy's having this conversation, Donna is out in the main dining room with everybody else. And, Julie's had her little bit of freak out. Donna is sitting there with the gun on her hip, with the stock resting on her hip or whatever. And I don't know what her name is yet. Did I start to make a note of names? But, anyways, the older lady
Yes, the older lady.
is making coffee and gives Donna a cup, which Donna takes. I wasn't sure how that was going to go at first, and I kind of didn't want that lady to get in a conversation with Donna. I don't they don't I don't think they're on the same level.
I don't know.
Right now, but that could change. But then Donna is looking over at Crew Cut. I still don't know what his name is.
Yeah, I just know the actor's name is AJ or whatever.
AJ Simmons, yeah.
Yeah, and he's a ball of fun, isn't he?
Oh my God. So, but he's not really one for taking crap.
But
like, this doesn't make sense.
Right.
I mean, and it wouldn't make sense to anybody to get off this bus, be herded into this diner, and basically be held against your will by 3 people with firearms.
Right.
So Donna's watching him because he looks like he's conspiring with 2 other guys.
Which he was.
Yeah, he was. And so, at any rate, what happens is the screaming starts outside. And that's the AJ's chance to get out of there.
Right.
And takes Kenny hostage. And I was just like, you hurt Kenny? You better start watching your back, Mr. AJ Simmons, because I am coming after you. I'm not talking about the character.
Well, first off, Kenny can hold his own. And I think it was
he didn't look like it, but it just made me nervous because I'm like, I'm not prepared to lose.
Oh yeah,
Kenny,
no. And I love Donna's response.
To lose Tom either.
I love Donna's response. Yeah, you're not opening that door, and if you shoot him, you're going down.
Yeah. You're next.
Exactly. It was great.
Yeah. And so or was it the screams that enabled Kenny to take the guy over? I forget.
Yeah, it was actually, now that I think about it, they were holding each other.
He just basically walked up to the door and
He's
Kenny
like, open the
had
door.
his back to him and he just took the gun. And so, yeah, it was the screams that enabled Kenny to get the jump on AJ. And we're going to have to call him AJ and watch. Like, we're going to be stuck calling him AJ long after they reveal his character name. I did not like that gun to Kenny's head. I was not a fan of that. There are other people, although I can't imagine, maybe other people in different shows, I wouldn't mind seeing a gun to their head. There you go. That's my light fixture.
It's sponsored by light fixtures. Yes, when you turn them on and turn them off, there are light fixtures. So for those of you playing at home,
wires just go down to the basement and they don't connect to anything.
Yeah, for those of you not watching it, the camera just went up and there we go.
Yeah. So at any rate, when Julie, like, she wants to go over and get her dad out, but when Julie starts hearing the attacks going on, that's when she starts to freak out. And Donna is the one that stands between her and the door. Right. If she's not going to let AJ pull any crap, she's certainly not going to soften up for Julie. But the thing is, like, it was heartbreaking to listen to her cry. Like, everyone knows what could happen over there, that is already an inhabitant of this town. So they know what can happen. And she doesn't know where her mom is. She knows where her brother is, but they're not in the same place. So her brother could be in just as much danger. And then the older lady comes over and, tries to comfort her, which I don't know. I didn't find that comforting, but that's okay.
Well, she's also a little freaked out too.
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
would be a little freaked out if somebody told me there's monsters outside and
yeah,
you can't go out and you hear screams.
yeah. And I've already forgotten who Mary is. Who's Mary? Oh, Mary, duh. So Bhakta is the name of the bus driver.
Yes.
And her and Mary are exchanging looks, with all of this going on, because like what the heck's gonna, like, what's going on? Like, they're new in this town. There's blood curdling screams going on outside, and anything could be happening. And then, we see Fatima and Ellis over at the post office, which is the police station. And Fatima is screaming to people, get over here, get inside with us. And they can see there's a couple, a man and a woman, over by the bus. And
Right.
They're together. If you look at any of the photos from before they released the season,
I thought they were gonna live. I didn't realize they were gonna.
I thought there was a chance, because Fatima's like, come on, you can come here. But, from the photos that they released with the trailer, you can see that they are a couple. And so there they are behind the bus. And I'm not exactly sure what they're looking at, or if they're peeking back at the diner because the diner looks so sketchy. But at any rate, Fatima's trying to get anyone's attention so that they will come and hide with them in the post office. And those two are just out there in the open. So meanwhile, there's two walking around the corner, just like, let's go to the post office type looks on their faces. Fatima and Ellis get in the building, and then they're standing at the door. And I'm just like, was the movie Smile based on these monsters?
I don't know, but they were friggin'. Now, I do want to say something about those monsters, because they had like a 70s, 60s cowboy.
I would say early 70s.
I'm just saying,
right?
like cowboy
70,
kind of
71.
look.
Yes.
And I love. Wait, I wrote down what he said. You'll feel better if you come outside. And wait, and then the other one was, you're ruining all the fun. And what I find really, and this is like kind of the ironic thing, and on the serious note about this, is both Jade last week and now Fatima this week are getting pissed off with the monsters. Like, they are, like, she's like giving them the finger and banging against the window, and they are like done.
Yeah, she is done with it. And the thing is, I'm like, stop banging against the window, Fatima, because
You'll break it.
we'll break it. And we're not even sure if that talisman will work with a broken glass in between you. The way that they look at Fatima and Ellis, like, they are unwavering. They are nonplussed. Like, it's as if they are looking at puppies in a pet store. That's
Yeah.
what it looks like.
Looks like Charlotte.
Oh my God. That's how I look at Charlotte all the time.
I know you do.
It'll be more fun if you come outside.
I know, that's just a scary look right there.
Yeah. So at any rate, that was my audition for the show, by the way.
And trust me, that where we are working on that. One of the other things, I do want to just go back to the diner for a second and talk about our famous bus driver.
Yeah.
I want it's Bacta. And I love how
I don't
I
know.
love
I can't wait to hear how it's really pronounced. But anyway, go ahead.
when she starts with the whole diner scene. She's like, "Okay, you can still there's still time." And, like, she's, like,
You
trying to
can still
put
get out of this
yeah,
without
I
a
know,
problem.
put reason and then I think it was when she was talking to that older lady, or maybe it was Mary, and she's on the counter, and she's like, "Oh my god, we're really we're in this place. Whatever this place is, we're really here." And I
Yeah.
think I'm really looking forward to seeing her be an ally with
Done.
Donna, because
Yeah.
once you get her on board, forget it, man.
Forget it. Yeah.
You're not gonna mess with that woman.
No, like her and Donna together. It's kind of interesting. All right. So their initial meeting, it is like almost like the Rock'em Sock'em robots, right? They're evenly matched. You don't know which one's coming up.
Yeah, yeah.
Is the yellow one gonna win? Is the red one gonna win? You don't know because they are evenly matched. They are of the same ilk, right? So that's all great when they're going head to head.
Right.
How are they going to be when it comes to working together?
I think they're gonna work fabulously together. That's my prediction for one reason and one reason only. As soon as the bus driver, Bacta, realizes that Donna's in charge, she'll be fine. No, I mean, I think
But
that
will she want to have
her
dominion
own,
over the bus people?
she
Like,
may.
she may continue to take responsibility for them because she was the bus driver. Like, there's, just like where I'm a teacher, like,
They're your kids.
they're my kids. I'm going to look out for them, and make sure they're okay. And it just doesn't always end,
The
you know.
same way Donna is protective of her colony house.
Yeah, like yeah,
But
yeah.
we're gonna see. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, not to go down a deep dive on this, they've finally secured, hopefully, we don't know. Colony House should be secure. Let's just say it's secure.
I'm,
Because
you
that's
know what? I'm concerned about that big picture window that got broken.
okay. But let's just say if Colony House is secure enough to stay in, you've got the town, which is secure, with the exception of the Matthews house, which kind of
Yeah.
fell onto itself. So we've got, they may have to all get divvied up. There's gonna be a lot of problems coming up, and I can't wait to
Yeah.
see. I mean,
It makes me wonder if people are going to be sleeping in the diner. I don't know that they have room for all of that.
well,
And
that's the
now that the bar is closed, that house is up for grabs once it's cleaned out.
well, yeah, we're gonna get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But I think that we had a problem when Colony House broke down. There wasn't enough, beds at the inn, so to speak. Now
Down.
we're adding these other people. We're dealing with food. We're dealing with rationings. We're dealing with a whole bunch of stuff, which we haven't come across yet because we haven't even gotten through the night. But going back to Ellis and Fatima,
Yeah.
I do want to wrap that up in terms of I love how Ellis takes Fatima off the ledge, and I know this with my wife, and I know anybody that, loves somebody, it's like, listen, it's you and me against the world.
Yeah.
It's you and me against the world. And that's just such a sweet, sweet moment. And we are so invested in these characters. Of course, somebody's gonna have to die, but you don't want anybody to die.
I know. I just want them to get married. Like, like I just want
I
them
mean,
together. Like when I was watching her lose her mind, I get it, but I was afraid she was going to break up with Ellis.
no, yeah. Where's she gonna
You
go?
know, well, I know, but like I was just afraid that that's what was going to happen. Like, in this small town, like what I didn't want to come out of it was like everything is pointless. There's no reason
No,
for
I
anything.
think the exact opposite is gonna happen. They're gonna be stronger. I mean,
I hope
listen,
so.
I think they're a golden couple right now. My silly prediction, and I know this has no basis, and maybe you're gonna think I'm stupid. I think Kenny and Julie are gonna end up together.
You think that's going to be the couple?
I do. I just the way they talk to each other is the way he talked to her was the same way he talked to Kristy. And I know you can't just turn a light switch on and off, and I get that. I just think that you know she
See, I
is.
didn't think that that's how he was talking to her. I
I
thought
know.
that
I don't
he
think
was,
no. I don't think that's what he was talking to her either. I just think that her maturity's moved up, and he's not exactly the most mature person.
so you think they became closer in age or
I
or in maturity?
I don't know. I'm gonna see how it plays out, but that's why we do this, right? We have fun with it.
Well, Julie could be like, you know what, life is short. I'm gonna go for bad boy AJ.
Okay, and then Jim is gonna learn how to use a gun.
I know.
Okay. Next
I
week
know.
on Fromcast, we are going to learn how to use Boyd's gun and how to
Yeah.
clean it.
Yeah.
But
So
back to AJ for a second. The
yeah.
guy, the guy isn't a bad guy. He's
I mean,
just
he jumped
trying.
into that house.
But no, I'm just saying he's been trying to be a good guy.
I don't know.
But you know what I mean?
I
Like in
don't
terms
know
of
because he was the first one to jump up on the bus and
right.
start fighting it, not fighting, but fighting against Elgin. So he was kind of like
Wow,
short
wait.
tempered there.
But
And
wait.
it surprised me that when they were looking for people to help in the house, that he was one of the first ones to run over. Um,
Now, let me
I
just
don't
say
think I
this.
expected him to sit back and watch, but I didn't expect him to run over there faster than Jean Jacket did.
Well, I
Right?
will say this.
Right. Yeah.
One, he's bored. Two, he's got nothing better to do. And three, just because you're a dick doesn't mean that you still can't be a nice guy. Like even jerks still make sure their mother's garbage goes out when they leave the house. You know what I mean? Like he might be a jerk, but that doesn't mean if somebody threw up on you, you'd probably not be nice. And if you already had a chip on your shoulder, yeah, but that doesn't make you a bad guy. I mean, the jury's still out. I mean, I have
He
no idea.
he was only thrown up on because he was up in the aisle trying to stop Elgin.
I understand that, and like I said,
But
I'm not
it's
saying he's
no
the
fault.
perfect. He's not. We're not going to sainthood here. We're not going to the cathedral to put him on saint whatever. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I just thought it was kind of interesting how he's as bad. If you look at the scales, he's got more good than bad right now. That's all.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I disagree. I think he's got more bad than good.
Now that being said, I could totally see him plotting against everybody and doing something. But right now, I could see that little thread of good in him. That's all I was saying.
There's a thread,
Yeah, there's a thread.
not much more than that. So,
Where do you want to go, my dear? Where are you
so
driving?
over to the bar.
The bar?
The bar. So, Kelly and Brian run into the bar, and it is vacant because Tom is over at the house. Kelly
The
immediately.
one time he leaves the bar. The one
I
time.
know the place gets pillaged by two youngins there. Not really that young, but anyway, they are in the bar, and she immediately finds the alcohol,
Of
and
course.
they sit down to have a couple of drinks and sit this thing out. The screaming hasn't started yet. And all of a sudden, there's a knock on the door. And it sounds like it could be two people from the bus. I thought for a second it could even be the older couple that was, on the bus. And we don't know,
I think they might still be alive. And the reason I say that is this. The monsters usually don't impersonate people in this sense. Again, I could be wrong, but I
so
think
you
that
think in an instant that two monsters dragged bus people away?
no, but my point being is this, they knocked on the door and they said, we were in the bus. We were in the bus.
Yeah,
And
we
that's
were
why he
fine.
opened the door. Now, and then they cut away. So it's a 50-50 shot. Either they're dead and they're cleaning up, or they're alive and the four of them or whatever are there. And it
Yeah,
would be great if that was the case. And it would be even more great if it was somebody that we thought had died and it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, who
yeah.
knows? Who knows? I really don't believe. I think there's a 50-50 shot that they're alive.
Okay. Yeah. Because, like, they're screaming outside and they're probably listening to the couple that was over
Right.
by the bus.
You got it.
They were probably listening to that couple being ripped to shreds. So maybe they could be saying, we're from the bus, meaning they weren't actually lying. They were over at the bus eating.
But
But that was a couple. That was two women.
right.
And this is a man and a woman at the door. So probably not. And
Now
it was like, did you see them just walk up to that couple and they're shaking hands?
Oh, I know. And it was the waitress had all the blood on her and stuff.
Yes.
But going back to the bar people, the one thing that really pissed me off about it, if you think that there's somebody that you don't want at the bar in the other side of the door, don't you think you'd look before you open the door?
Yes.
I mean, if they don't die, they deserve to for that reason.
Yeah.
And if they
And
do
he
die,
just opened the door. He just took them at their word.
hello?
You know? And you know what I noticed a lot is everyone, like all of our
Peeps.
people, all of our peeps are touching the talisman. Like it's by the door. Like notice Ellis touches it. Like every time they touch it, you know? And I don't know if it's just that they're making a point to call attention to it for newer viewers or what the story is. I'm not exactly sure, but I noticed that they all
Yeah, I did notice that. And I
Yeah,
think that they do that every night. It seemed like they did that in the first episode.
like a ritual.
Yeah, it's just hey, you pray to God that it works.
You know, I couldn't find anything about this, but like when I think rituals, I think about Ray Bork and you know, when he'd start a hockey game, Bruins, go over and tap the goalie
Right.
the net, you know. It was
Or one of your other favorites, Boggs. He always had fried chicken before a game.
yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any rituals that you do that you wanted to say?
When I'm getting dressed in the morning, like when I'm getting ready for work, I do everything in the exact same order every single day. And if I don't, I feel off. Like, you know, if I'm in the shower, it's always shampoo, rinse, conditioner, soap. If I get thrown off and I'm like shampoo, soap,
Forget it.
it's done. It's done. And then it's always like vitamins, brush the teeth, and then the hair.
You know, when we used to have we used to have a house down at the beach at the shore in the Jersey Shore. The first thing I'd always do after we stopped the car, I'd go in the house or whatever, but the first thing I'd do is I'd run up to, because we were really close to the beach, just have to make sure the ocean's there. I know it's the dumbest thing. Like, I just want to make sure it's there. You know, say hi real quick.
You know, when you are at the beach, like it just feels too good to be true sometimes. So that's probably why. Like, especially right now, Alex, I'm landlocked and I'm tired of being landlocked. I'm really tired of it. Whenever when I lived in Massachusetts, you know, because I'm a masshole, and like today when I was getting donuts at the Dunks, I wasn't getting
because you had to go to Dunkin' Donuts.
I went to get coffee at Doug's and there was a car in front of me from Massachusetts. And I was like, oh my God, maybe I'm home. Maybe I'm home. And I'm like, no, I'm not home. I'm here.
Well, I just hope that you don't see any logs while you drive and you get stuck in from.
Right now, I might even consider it better than here.
Well, that said, let's press on. Literally, where do you want to go? Where are we driving the truck to?
All right, so let's hop on the bus. So one of the scenes that I was looking forward to seeing was Smiley. And I'll just never, like, when we saw the trailer and we see him talking to the older couple on the bus, and he's just smiling and he's like, looks like you found a bad spot. You know,
picked the wrong spot.
You picked the wrong spot. And so we see him walking down the street, and he's got a smile on his face, but it's a mild smile. It's nothing serious, right?
Right.
And he's just taking in that bus. And he just, to me, it's like some people with trains and how they're freaks, about trains, or like
Right.
me sometimes with glass, like depression glass. I'll be like, oh my God, look at this beautiful piece of glass. It's so intricate.
Well,
Anyway,
I have something for you that I want to show you and the viewers, because
yeah,
I know you're gonna love this. Hopefully you can see it.
yeah,
Do you see it?
yes.
So
Look
for
at him. I mean, look at him. But I just loved his look of wonder and appreciation as he walks up to the bus and he touches it, and then he opens up the door and he slowly walks in, and he feels the headrest of the captain's chair, and then hand around the steering wheel, and then he sits down and
I
he's
know,
his hands on the wheel,
like it's
and
a new toy.
yeah, like he's just sitting there and he's like, you know what? Every night I'm going to come and hang out here. This is where I'm coming. I don't care about all this other stuff until I turn the lights on and I hear, and he turns around and
There you go.
and he walks down, and the lady's like, oh my goodness, blah, 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 blah. And I come with onions on the side, not on top, but I come with onions on the side. And he's like, that is exactly how I like my onions. And
And I didn't catch it, but we should actually do that.
what?
Is the faces these monsters make, they change, and his has to be the worst of the bunch.
Oh my God. And the thing is, like, they did not show this last season. Like,
No,
this is something new. And but when Frank was in the box,
they
if
did.
you frame by frame, you catch that face.
And I
And
caught that.
when Father Cautry gets it, you get a glimpse of that face. And I saw this picture today, and it was someone in the full makeup, with a t-shirt. You can't tell who it was. But it was on set. Jack Bender was in that picture.
Yes.
Maybe I saw it on Instagram, but I was like, wow, it's like this smooth face, and it's scary. It's
Yeah, I
really
posted
scary.
that. I posted that on our Instagram. It's from this
Yeah.
guy, and I believe he's part of the prop department. He's on Instagram. I think his name is Master Todd or something like that. He's like a prop master.
A prop.
And
Well, a
and
prop master wouldn't be doing that makeup, though.
all I know is he's been showing a lot of stuff from, and it was pretty amazing to watch. And
Yeah.
I have to say, the FX on this and the gags that they're doing are so awesome.
Where did you post this?
It's on our Instagram
Is it?
and our stories.
Oh, in the stories. That's
Yeah.
why, because I don't really look at the stories.
Well, you got to look at the stories sometime.
Truth be told, I just don't look at them.
So yeah, they have lunch. They have lunch by giving the lunch to Smiley.
Yeah.
And Jamie, if you're listening, you really gotta really step it up, because oh my God, it was amazing what you did. Forget about stepping it up. You couldn't have
I'm like,
anymore.
how is he going to step it up? I mean, does
If
it get any better than
step it
that?
up anymore, we're all gonna have nightmares, and we already are having nightmares. Okay,
Oh,
Jamie,
gosh.
you gotta. Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was. You picked a bad spot. Kill. Face turns to monster. That's what my notes were. You picked a bad spot.
I picked the wrong spot. Okay, I picked
You picked a bad spot. Oh, let's not get any scarier.
I know, right?
I don't know who's worse. All right. So.
And that's what we should do. We should have a contest we could have a Jamie contest, a smile contest. Oh my God, that would be awesome.
We're going to have a contest. We are going to have a contest. We just haven't figured out what it is. But
We have prizes, but we don't want to reveal them yet.
Oh, I was gonna reveal. All right, so the sun comes up, music comes on the jukebox. I don't know what song that was.
But
I don't remember. I don't know that song.
I want to say something about that.
Yeah.
Okay. This is something that I think is really important to this show. And it has to do with music. We've talked about music before in the diner, but music has been a part of the bad guys or the monsters when we get to Boyd in a little bit. And I think I don't understand why music is so important, but when the
Because it
music
plays on your emotions.
no,
It's
what I mean by this, is this. It sets the time. Meaning when the music plays, it's all clear. When the music stops, there's a problem. When we talk about Boyd in a little bit, but when the music plays in the morning, it's all clear. It's just amazing how it's using as a clock.
Yeah, but it wasn't all clear when the bus drove in. The music was playing, like the music played and the bus pulled up.
I understand, but I'm also saying that they're using music in a lot of different ways, whether it's to say it's all clear to go outside because it's day, or if certain situations happen.
I wonder if
there's something there. I'm telling you.
I wonder if it signifies, well, no, I was going to say if it signified sundown, we would have heard it in the diner.
But
because
sunrise.
remember in The Last of Us, music was important. If it was an 80s song that came over Joel and Ellie's, not Joel and Ellie, but Joel, can't think of her names, radio, if it was an 80s song, it meant trouble.
Right.
And that's how the end of the first episode ends. Trouble.
Right. I just think that there's more to it than just really good songs and playing randomly. I don't think it's playing randomly. I think there's more to it.
There is more to it. I mean, everything on this show is on purpose. So
well, not everything, but I think most is.
I think mostly everything is, like more than most is. But one thing that I noticed is that this episode wasn't so much, it was more of a utility episode with some trinkets set down.
Absolutely. I love the way you frame that, because we didn't see everybody, but we got to go to some new lands, some new areas, and we learned a little bit, but we didn't learn enough to know what we don't know.
Right. I mean, what I have on my diner page is that, you know, we already talked about where this place is, because you know, Mary was only on the bus for 2 hours and ended up there. But we've already talked about other people couldn't possibly be within 2 hours of Michigan, you know, or 2 hours away from Michigan. I mean, they could be in Canada for all we know, but I don't think so, because they show an American flag. But we don't know. It could have been anyone that put that flag up.
They could be anywhere in any dimension. Who knows where they are?
We don't know. But it
could be the multiverse.
One of the questions is what is real is death. But then again, is it? You know? So then, you know, in the morning it comes up, the sun comes up, the music, you know, wakes up Julie, and she realizes that it's the next day. So she runs out to check on her dad, and thank God, like, you know, they see Tom, unfortunately, but she's calling for her dad, and, you know, he must have been sleeping, and he wakes up and he calls her name, so they know that they're alive. And then Donna is screaming for everybody to help. Let's get him out of there, you know?
And everybody's helping.
Everybody's helping, because I think this is the first moment of unity. Like that day, that night was enough to be like, we are not in Kansas anymore. You
Bingo.
know? So it's just, there's some questions. One of the questions that I had is that I noticed Julie has been shopping in Kenny's closet.
Really?
Her pants are really short, and they're not capri short, and they're not, like just above the ankles where mine are. They are flood short, and she's got white socks on. And so I was paying attention to Kenny because you and I have been quite vocal about this every time we have someone on, like, what is up with his pants? And so I'm looking at Kenny, and he's got these navy pants on, these navy colored pants and chinos, right? So I'm like, maybe they put him in a pair of pants that actually fit, but they did not. Alex, there was a scene and I saw it, but the thing is, he doesn't have white socks on. He has boy white socks on, which means they're the dingy gray.
Right.
And I know that they're the dingy gray because he's wearing floods.
There you go.
I don't know whose suitcase he's been shopping out of, but he needs to find someone that's taller than him.
Maybe him and AJ can start talking.
Maybe, but it makes me wonder. We never saw his dad standing up, but maybe he's wearing his dad's clothes and his dad was shorter than him.
We'll have those answers and more will be answered in episode 3.
I hope so. All right. So now I think what we need to do is, let's see, do I have anything? No, okay.
You want to go to Boyd and Martin?
Yeah, well, yeah, because Boyd and Martin feed into Tabitha and Victor.
Right,
so
yeah.
We get we get a lot of information about Boyd and Martin, or really about Martin, but we don't have any answers.
Oh, and that's so frustrating. Oh my God. I wanted to I knew they were going to do this. They were giving you just enough to make you friggin' want to but anyway, sorry.
But the thing is, I kind of don't care. I probably really don't care that they do this. And the reason why is because I have trust.
No, I know. No. It's good writing. It's just, it's frustrating.
No. That's not what I'm saying. It's not about the writing. What I'm saying is I have trust that there's going to be answers.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I'm being naive.
No, I think
I'm not putting it there. That's not, I'm just not there. I have trust that we are going to get the answers that we need when we need them.
Right.
And so when Boyd gets to the top, you see that flash of who threw the rope.
Everybody wants to know who threw that goddamn rope.
Who threw the rope? Because the thing is, he gets up there and he's like,
all right,
there's no way you could have thrown that rope.
But you know what the best answer we have? And I have to tell you, when we interviewed Harold,
yeah,
and we asked him that dumb question, because it really is a dumb question in the sense of he's not going to answer it, and he just said, right? I mean, it's just
he was like, right.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you the whole plot of the whole entire show, but in a 5-minute junket. But no, I mean,
he's too good. Harold Perrineau is the consummate professional.
Unfortunately,
you have to pronounce every letter in that word because that's who he is.
But no, what I loved about that,
he played us.
What I love about that scene is you did see a lot. You saw guy.
It's all in the details. When they pan over this way and you see 2 of them chained to the wall.
Yeah.
And they're not even remotely new. They're completely black out, rotted out skeletons with dried up flesh hanging from the wall.
Right.
And walking.
I have a theory. Just when we get to it, I'm gonna get to it.
Okay. So
that has to do with the scene. I'm saying it has to do with the
okay.
scene.
All right. So then we see Martin on the wall, right? And so Martin was like, "Oh, you have a gun, so now you can kill me. You know, that's our deal. I need you to kill me." And you know how sometimes in the story there's, oh gosh, now I can't even think of who the heck it is, but like in Game of Thrones, who Bran ends up being.
Oh yeah.
What's the name of that thing? I can't even think of it.
The third eye.
The third eye. All
Yeah.
right. So Bran ends up becoming the third eye, right? But you have to kill the one that's there in order to become that, you know? And so
the Raven.
Yeah. The Raven, that's it. So is that what Martin did to Boyd? Did he make him the Raven? Because they're talking, and Boyd is someone like, he's true blue. Like, Boyd being on your side is like having an infinitesimal amount of Hail Marys.
But he said something.
Pocket.
He said something. Martin said something. But before we get to that, I just want to lay some groundwork, which is this. One is he's a Marine, just like Boyd. He had a tattoo, and he's like,
wait a minute, wasn't Boyd in the Army and Abby was?
But my point being is they're bonded.
They bond over the service.
They're bond, you know, semper fi, do or die. Okay, and
but
he says something. He says something to Boyd. He's like, you need to leave me. You need to leave me. When Martin's in chains, he knew everything, but he wasn't going to leave him. Then all of a sudden, the music starts playing.
And Martin's like, when that's
okay, they're coming. They're coming. You know, when the music stops, that's when they come. And he's like, what's coming? What's coming? And he gets the one arm off. He can't get the other arm off. And then I don't know exactly how it happens, but Martin scratches him.
He has the manacle around his hand. And so he goes like this across Boyd's arm or pack. No, that's not a pack. Whatever this is, okay, yeah. But he scratches him across here. He puts a deep gouge and then because his wrists are bloody from the manacles, and he puts his wrist up against that cut and he says, now you have my blood. Exactly.
Now it's your burden. My burden is over.
Yeah. And I think when I was thinking about it, because Boyd sees those little, I call them squirm worms or arm squirms, whatever they are, those arm squirms on Martin. He sees them, and
but they were seen once before that.
When were they seen?
Sarah, on her arm when it said kill him. She has those in him. She has those things in her.
I don't remember that. I just remember seeing it's her arm.
She had squirmy things in her arm in season 1. Now, we don't know what Sarah's going through.
But we don't even know how she got them.
Exactly. That was what I was trying to tell you. I was waiting for the time.
She went through the faraway tree. And you know what it is? I think some faraway trees are marked. And she knew that. And maybe she got rid of her arm squirms by throwing Boyd in there. And maybe that was part of her assignment, was to get someone else in there. And that's how she could get rid of her burden.
We don't know yet.
Or maybe
it's a good theory. That's a really good theory.
A burden army. Because when Boyd is talking to Martin about, the monsters, Martin says there's worse things here.
Exactly. And he wouldn't tell him what that was.
He didn't. And, and Martin's talking about the abuse, but he doesn't say in
By who?
detail, just that it is worse than anything you can imagine. And you're looking at him, and he's not cut up in any way. He's standing there, trapped on that wall, and that's bad enough in itself. But, he's got a tank top that's hanging off him. I'm assuming he's got a pair of shorts on. He's got legs that are like, toothpicks. His arms.
And he was from the town. He knows about the town.
Yeah.
And I think, and again, to go down a deep dive on this, who's to say that those squirmy things aren't part of, they're obviously part of the bigger picture, but let's just say maybe some of these townspeople that used to be here are some of the monsters.
Well, that's, I've seen that come up in our favorite Facebook page a lot, that people are thinking that the massacred townspeople became the monsters, or some of the townspeople became monsters, and that's where it's
like the humans are the hosts for these organisms.
Maybe. We don't know.
We don't know yet.
Any of the monsters have arm squirms.
Right. We don't know what they could be. The arm squirms. They could be the adult arm squirms.
Yeah.
But again, so we see the dancing girl, and
she's missing part of her leg.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like this. And I was thinking about it because, on purpose, he angles the lid of the music box so he can look at himself in the little mirror. So does your daughter have one of those?
Yes.
Little music boxes? I know I had one. It's weird. Yes. My sister didn't have one, but I did. I think it's part of growing up a girl, maybe. I don't know.
Every girl has one. It's like that. You get it's like the whole girl set.
Yeah. My sister didn't have one, and she's not really human anyway. So maybe she's a monster.
Yeah, okay. That's that she doesn't listen to this podcast anyway, so.
No. If she did, we'd have some really bad reviews. But anyway, he angles that so he can see himself, and if you think about it, like a dancer interprets music.
Correct.
And Boyd is walking around trying to interpret these things. And the dancer hears the music, dance to the music. Is Boyd dancing to the music? Did Sarah send Boyd to this hole on purpose? Did she know that certain faraway trees would lead to that hole? Because we don't know that Martin went through a faraway tree, the same exact one that Boyd did. Because if there's already other people on those walls, it just would seem like a very high rate of incident for people to find that tree by accident and end up in that hole and have a rope come out of nowhere, right?
Right.
So
it could be like the tree. It could be like the tree in From when you get here. Oh, did you get the rope?
I know.
But I love how after all that thing, he's outside. And it happens really quick,
Yeah. Yeah. It's like he pushes a door, and almost by virtue of pushing the door, he's outside, and there's all these arches. Yeah, I loved it. I loved it so much. Like it was basically one frame touching the door. The very next frame, it wasn't a matter of frames. The very next frame, he's standing there.
But what I love about this show, which it really does a great job of.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're already on the edge of your seat. It's dark. He's in the woods. Then all of a sudden the monsters come. And he's like right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And he sees the milkman and the cheerleader and the this and the that.
Yeah.
And he kind of avoids it. Now, this is the question that I have.
Yeah.
All right. And I know we're not going to get an answer to this,
Yeah.
but what is the deal with dogs or that dog?
Or with Harold Perrineau and dogs.
But no,
Because in Lost, there was Vincent, and Vincent would show up in all these different places. But this dog is the second time we've seen this dog.
but the dog, it's like the monsters are afraid of the dog.
Why do you say that?
Because when they started barking, they moved away. The dog saved him. It's the second time the dog
I
has
don't
saved him.
know. I don't know.
It looked like to me, it looked like the dog kind of saved him.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong at all. It never occurred to me. And
I
maybe
think-
I got blinded because I was like, maybe the dog is like, come this way.
Yeah.
Like he shows up at a certain moment where he needs you to go in a certain direction. But maybe he's part of, let me go back to my quest list. Maybe he's part of that.
He could be part of the quest. All
He's
I
part
know
of the
is
quest in that, like Ethan is kind of a guide through the thing, but then there's always like a get out of jail free card. Maybe that's what the dog is. Like there's protected people, and maybe the arm squirms made him protected. I don't know, but
it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. That's all.
to see when we see that dog next. I did not notice. I didn't connect those two things, like the dog showing up. But I think it's interesting that you did, because we're both getting two different things from that dog.
Right.
You know, in like did I even write down, he sees the milkman with a woman, a nurse, and a guy. So it's weird. It's like milkman and a woman.
And they're so nice.
And then a nurse and a guy, like, you know, just a regular old guy. And
they're all going to Dunkin'.
Yeah, they probably were, you know, to get coffee in the morning. But at any rate, they look like they're walking in the same direction, which is
towards town. Towards town. They're going towards
town. Yeah, because you know, when we see them again, it's the same four, and they're chasing after Elgin. So when we go over to the trailer, some interesting things happen in the trailer. Oh, by the way, it took me watching it 3 times to realize Martin is dead. I wasn't sure if he was just hanging.
Oh yeah, no,
comatose, but by the 3rd time, I was like, no, that dude's dead.
So I don't want to call it Martin. I mean, I don't want to call it Victor's trailer. I like to call it Victor's summer retreat.
Okay. Or, you know, the clubhouse. I don't know, whatever it is. It could be the summer retreat.
The beach house.
But there's no air conditioning in there or heat. So it's a cabin, I guess.
The trailer in the woods.
Rustic trailer for rent. But he takes Tabitha. Like there's just this random trailer, semi-trailer out in the middle of nowhere. And he takes Tabitha there and he opens it up and they go in, and it's like, it's set up. It's like furnished. It's got a bed. It's got a couple of couches, a desk.
It's great.
Yeah.
And like it also, you know what also has? You know what else it has?
What?
Electricity.
Yes. Interesting.
I noticed that.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I was like, all right, so underneath the trailer bed, it's probably just wires hanging. They don't connect to anything. Maybe you just walk in and you just put a lamp there and turn it on. You don't even have to plug it in. I mean, this house that I live in, I go through bulbs like crazy. I am always replacing light bulbs. So I would like to not have to worry about those. So anyway, you know, it's furnished and they're sitting down and they're talking, and you know, he says, he says the boy in white is back, and
Right.
he's been away for a long time. And my question is, it makes me wonder what triggered that. And I'm wondering if it was triggered because the boy in white came to him and told him that two cars were going to land on the same day. And I'm wondering what else the boy in white told him, because it seems like those two cars land, and then a couple of weeks later, a bus shows up.
Well, what's also interesting about the whole boy in white thing is he talks about, in that same conversation, she asks about his family,
Yeah.
and he starts talking about his mother. He does not really talk about his father, and we know his
He
father
doesn't
was
even
there.
mention a father.
But my
Oh,
point
wait, we
being,
know the father was there. Yeah.
because of the picture.
And his mother was nice.
Exactly.
His mother was nice, and he doesn't say anything about his dad. So what does that say?
Could be an abusive relationship. It could be a whole bunch of things in this. I loved how he had the stale the cookies.
The stale cookies, and they're both like, they were holding them really weird and just taking nibbles out of them. And it made me wonder if for some reason they didn't have a lot of cookies on set, and they were like, eat these sparingly because we need them for the scene. Or maybe they went through so many cookies,
They were
so
done.
many scenes that the cookies were
Now-
gone, or the cookies really were awful.
Now, on a different note, the truck was a Peaches truck.
Shut up. I didn't even notice. Where did you see that?
When they were walking out, when they were leaving,
Oh,
it
the
said
next
Peaches.
day. Oh, I didn't even see that. Oh
See,
my God.
this
that's
is why you have me podcast with you, because I have all these great useless knowledge.
I don't think that's useless. That's incredibly important.
No, but what I also
Oh
found,
my God. So that's where all the peaches came from. Duh. That
now
only took me so long.
that said,
Yeah.
so Boyd comes in, he knocks on the door, right?
No, he just started opening the door.
I'm just saying, whatever. He gets
Yeah.
in. And the
Yeah.
interesting thing is, and what you said before, they put the talisman on, because Victor said there's no talisman. He touches it and whatever.
No,
Then,
Tabitha hangs it up and touches it.
right.
But the thing is, like when Boyd comes, that's when Elgin shows up.
But this is where I was going to get to. And Elgin comes, and they don't know Elgin because they don't know what the hell just happened.
Yeah.
And they almost shot him, whatever else. They come in.
Boyd was ready to kill him. Yeah.
And I love what Victor says. He's like, I don't like him. He doesn't look right.
Right off the bat, I don't like
But
it.
I also think, and I think that the crayon pictures are going to be more important than we think. I think they're important to begin with, but I think they're going to be more important after this conversation. He says he likes to mark time so he doesn't forget, and he doesn't want to, he had nightmares and everything else. And if you noticed, when you look at that scene, he's got pictures of all sorts of different people. He has portraits of people on the wall. And then where did he put that picture? He put it on the wall closest to the door, the last one that he was just doing. So there's
but he doesn't have a bunch. There's not a bunch of those in there.
Yes, there was. When he was drawing on the right-hand side, he must have had at least 10 portraits of scenes
behind him,
to the right of him.
I didn't even notice that.
And they were portraits.
You know why? This is why I didn't notice it, is because I was paying attention so much to what he was saying, because he's explaining to Boyd what these pictures mean. And he's saying, like, he drew the dummy, which got him so upset for some reason, and we don't know why. And he says the pictures remember.
Right.
And if you forget,
You
the
can look at
pictures remember. So he thought all his pictures were dreams, but the pictures remembered. So he's thinking, everything I've seen in this godforsaken place, it's just been a bad nightmare. But then when he wakes up and he sees a picture of the dog, that dog is in one of the pictures.
Right.
But then he knows it was real.
Right.
That if it's not in one of those pictures, then
real.
it's not real.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, there's a lot to unpack with it, with all these episodes, and I think that's going to be something. I hope they get to go back there.
You know what? I was just thinking, like, I had already been spending, I think, a lot of time on him, but I spend so much time focusing just on Victor when he's in a scene that I am missing things like all those pictures on the wall.
Well,
Or
that's why we both do this together, so that you pick
yeah,
up stuff and I pick up stuff.
but I don't know, when you're trying to put it all together, sometimes it's just, I don't have any pictures to remember. So I don't know if it's real or not.
Is it
But
real or not?
is it real?
But I love the conversation when they're like, "When did you come? There's a bus. How many people?" And they're like, "What the
What?
hell is going?" I leave.
know, like,
I go
what
away.
happened?
I go away. I go into the basement. I go into the caverns. I do whatever, and I leave, and all hell's breaking loose. And
Yeah.
then the house collapsed. So then she wants to go get Jim, and yada yada
Well,
yada.
yeah, 'cause she doesn't know about the rest of her family. Like, you know,
And
one minute she's digging this hole, then she falls through the hole,
that's
and
what she
she's
gets
in
for digging
the
that hole.
caverns with Victor. And the thing is, you don't even know how long they're down there. It could have just been overnight. I mean, I think it was just an overnight thing. Like, that
This
was,
was 24 hours. No, this was
yeah,
totally
24
24.
hours. Yeah. So
It would be
just
neat, Lizzie.
that
It would
the
be
whole
neat.
time, like, they're in that trailer, like, there's just a lot going on. Like, she asks Victor, have you been here? How long have you been here? And he's like, a while. I've been there a while, and I came with my mother.
Not his father.
So was his father already there?
Well, who knows? Or was this, he just didn't want to talk about his father?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was definitely what we need to do. And I think listeners should really do this, is look at the season finale and watch season finale 1 and 2 in right back to back, because it kind of explains the timeline a lot better. I mean, the fact that,
It's hard when you have all this time in between.
right, but
Yeah. And some people actually have just seen the season finale for the first time. Welcome.
exactly. So, my dear, do you have
Um,
any other notes?
Well, when Boyd is tending to his cut, and you know, he gets it to stop bleeding, which I thought it stopped bleeding pretty quickly, but the next morning when they're leaving and he
Victor.
looks at his arm and he sees the arm squirms, Victor saw that.
Right.
And then he puts his chamois shirt over it. Then let's see, Victor doesn't trust Elgin, and Boyd dismisses that.
Right.
So, and that's the thing, like, I think you can't, you know, they notice, they do, you know, cycle.
I think
back.
Eldon, the one thing I saw in one of the threads is that he had a bird on his shirt, and birds are really important in the story. You see birds all over, the blackbirds.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means anything, who knows, but he definitely has a connection to this place. He knows more than what's going on. He's
He
either
was
been here
dreaming.
before.
He was dreaming, because
I
when
don't think he was.
go back and watch that episode, the first episode, because someone, I forget, I think it was Mary, was talking to him, and he was dreaming. In their conversation, one of them says he was dreaming, but he was dreaming.
Well, the bottom line is, he's got a connection to this place.
He does.
Mary's got a connection to this place. We got to figure
Mary's
this out.
connection other than Kristy?
Kristy, I'm just saying, like,
okay.
That's my point, is there's a lot of connections with these people, and who knows, there's other people in the colony house, that could have connections with some of these people.
It's possible. Okay, so I think, let's see, Donna, Fatima. Yeah, because I was looking at the order in which people arrived. So Donna arrived before Fatima. Boyd came after that at some point, but I don't know if Kristy was there before Boyd or just after Boyd. I think it went Donna, Fatima, Kristy, then Boyd.
Mhm.
That's what I think. Let me see if I have any other notes. Bus driver's name. I think that's it. I think that is it. Let's see. Brian, Brick, Martin. Mathias. Who's Mathias?
Matthews?
No.
I don't know.
All right. That's all I have for notes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome.
That said, we did get some feedback for.
Oh, wait a minute. I didn't mention this. We never talked about back to going on to the bus, because the day after she walked out of the diner, and of course she's going to go check on her bus, right? And she walks up, she's looking, she doesn't see anything. As soon as she looks down the aisle, she starts to see the drag, or the blood drag, going on the aisle, and she walks all the way down and she sees the couple.
Yeah, and that was nasty.
It was nasty, and at that particular moment, that is when it became real to her.
Yeah.
It was questionable up until that point, but because she knew of that couple, because they were on her bus, she knew they weren't of this place, but yet they were victims of this place.
Absolutely. And that is messed up.
Yeah, that's my last note. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into some listener feedback. And for last episode, I'm gonna do the audios first.
Okay.
Well, actually, you know what? Why don't we do you have Alma's, right?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you do Alma's first, and then we'll do all that, and then we'll do the one for this episode. So this is feedback, folks, for episode 1.
Episode 1.
So why don't you go first?
All right. This is from Alma Contreras.
Thank you for listening.
OMFG. What?
I said thank you for listening and being an awesome supporter, Alma.
Yes, thank you so much. This first episode did not disappoint. All I can say is that I was on the edge of my seat the entire episode. And how freaking scary was the cavern where the monsters sleep? So why do you suppose Jude is hallucinating stuff? We can't blame the weed, because he was hallucinating before he smoked.
It's Jade.
LOL. Oh, Jude. You wrote Jude.
They wrote Jude. Okay. I
thought you were saying. Okay. Of course, I didn't even catch it because I was in character.
I know. She's an actor.
Yes. I can't remember the little boy's name, but he is probably the most in tune person in this godforsaken town. I really think he definitely has something with the quest theory and those symbols being bad or good. I kept worrying about the sun going down and all those people out. Can't wait for the next episode and to hear the cast. Thanks for listening, Alba.
You're the best. All right. So we had some listener feedback, and I just want to play a couple of them. The first one we're going to do is from Jody, and she comes all the way from Australia. So let's hear what she has.
Hey, Jody.
Hey, Jody.
Hi, Lizzie and Alex. It's Jody from Canberra, Australia, settling in behind the international desk here with my fellow international listeners. Did you guys polish this desk? It's looking nice and shiny. I'm so glad you're back. I've really missed you both, and I'm so looking forward to chatting through season 2 of From with you. I just finished watching episode 1, and I was on the edge of my seat this entire episode. The whole thing felt so panicky and urgent, and I forgot this feeling from season 1, and I really enjoyed it, which probably says a lot about my personality. Anyway, a few thoughts. Jade yelling back at his hallucination was just peak Jade. I hated him so much at the beginning of season 1, and now I just love him. I took such a deep, relieved breath when Tabitha and Victor crawled out of that tunnel into that forest. I was holding my breath, which every one of their scenes, it was awful. I thought Donna shooting the wheel of the bus was really smart in terms of making sure they wouldn't leave, but also really dumb in that it terrified everyone and made them run away and into more danger. And this episode left me with tons more questions, like, why do the monsters look so jacked up in the tunnels when they look normal when they hunt at night? Who's the kid on the bus who recognised where he was, and how does he know? Did he escape once before? Is he part of it and that's how he knows? How did that chained up guy get the rope down to Boyd when he's chained to a wall? How long has he been chained to the wall? Aren't his hands like completely numb the way they're being held up like little pterodactyl hands? And finally, is it possible to love Donna any more than I already do? Actually, I have an answer to this one, and it's yes. Yes, it is possible. This episode made me even more excited about this season than I already was. I can't wait to hear your coverage. Thank you so much for going above and beyond for us. We really appreciate it, and I can't wait for your episode.
Well, thank you so much, Jody. You are the best. I know some of the Zed heads got to meet her in San Francisco.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, so I'm a little upset about that because I couldn't actually put a face to a name, so to speak. But keep it coming. And we have another listener. I podcast with her on the Yellow Jackets after show. I can never say it right. Archmeister Rennie. I can never say the title right. So here we go. Let's see what the boss has to say.
All right, Alex and Lizzie. I just watched season 2, episode 1 of From, and I have no theories. I have no idea what is going on in this show. I just sincerely hope that the showrunners do. I have a question for the two of you, though, and that's about From, the title. The two of you, I think, are saying that the name of the town is From. And I wonder if I missed that in season 1, that the town is called From. I think there are a lot of ways of things that title could mean, like where are you coming from? And where are the monsters from? And where are all the people in the town from? And where did this crazy show come from? But I'm just wondering, again, about, is the town really called From? So, looking forward to the next episode.
And as always, I have no idea. I think, yeah, go ahead, Lizzie.
I was just going to say, it's interesting that she came in with that piece this week, because I have been thinking about this a lot for the last 2 weeks. You know, we've thought about it from time to time. We just call it the town of From because it doesn't have a name. So we've just been calling it that. But the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking it's about, they're all coming from somewhere, from something. And I don't know if it's talking about their physical coming from, Michigan, 2 hours away, or if they're coming from an emotion, like the Matthews family was coming from grief. I don't know.
I think it's just the fact that it's an over umbrella of From.
Yeah, it's an umbrella word.
That said, we have a little bit longer voicemail. And we love to have the voicemail come in. We love to have voicemails come in. We like to keep them to about 2 minutes. I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to cut part of it off because just for time. But this listener gave us a wonderful feedback, and I wanted to play at least some of it so that we had recognized what she said, because she has some pretty good theories. So take it away, Courtney.
Hi, my name is Courtney. I am from South Jersey. This is my first time listening to you guys' podcast, so bear with me. I'm like, okay, they're both on to something. It's kind of aligning, but you guys are missing some stuff. But I loved hearing you guys hypothesize about what is going on in this show. Let's talk about the point where the bus comes in and we see Elgin and he wakes up from this nap, and then immediately as he realizes he's coming into this town, he starts freaking out. He's like, no, you need to stop the bus. You need to turn around. I'm thinking like, okay, maybe he's waking up and this is him realizing that they circled this town and they've been circling this town for a while now, right? So then you see everybody else's reaction and you're like, oh no, he's the only one freaking out. So I came to two conclusions. He either was at that town before, or he had a very vivid dream about this town. And when I say vivid, I mean one of those dreams where you could have sworn that really happened. And then I do not agree with Lizzie that he had that dream in that moment, because his fear was so surreal. His fear was very much there, which means that he vividly remembers this town for some reason. So that's one theory. The other theory is that he was actually there before. He was in that town and somehow escaped. I support it by the fact when the nurse, the fiance, when they got off the bus and she's checking on him, making sure he's okay, whatever. And she was like, do you know where you are? And he's like, do you? And it's like, he knows way more than any of those other people there. He knows where they're at. And I loved how you guys were kind of like ping-ponging off each other. Now, the second thing was when they got through the cave, right? What I was thinking when Victor was freaking out the mummified corpses was that was his family. I did see the TV and I thought I was tripping. The TV that was down there looked like an old television. And the woman and the man, they both, like, I'm looking at their fashion choice and what they're wearing, and it looked like something from the 50s, 60s, or whatever, which is about the time that, if not, like 60s, 70s, that Victor possibly was there. And so I think that he was freaking out because that was his parents that died or something. And this leads to another theory that these demons, they either take on the appearance of people they've killed, or that's just how they look. But I've noticed since the first episode that each demon we see a couple demons that repeat, like that preppy looking young adult kid that has that creepy smile that was one of the first people in the colony house when it was attacked. Now, I thought it was very crazy just how the first season ended, a lot of stuff happening at once. The second season started off with all this stuff happening at once. So the house collapsed, the electric tower was destroyed, this bus rolls in, and I think that's very convenient. The presence, the entity that's controlling, the supernatural entity that's controlling what's happening in this town, I feel like it's trying to distract them from something. But I think it's interesting that all of a sudden, the same people who stumbled upon this town, right, they're the same ones that's actually making the moves to try to figure out how to get out. And then...
So I just wanted to play a little bit of it. I know she has some other stuff, but I just wanted to make sure that we read some of her feedback. Did you have any thoughts on that, Lizzie, about her thoughts?
I'm sorry, I got distracted, but I did listen to her entire message. And I thought she had a lot of great points. And I disagree with her. Elgin was dreaming, just like I'm disagreeing with you.
Okay.
He was dreaming. But I mean, she's spot on with everything.
She's got some great theories.
I know.
And I love the fact that she just found us. So welcome to our little Frumily, and hopefully we get some more feedback from you. We got one more piece of feedback for this episode, and of course it's from our good friend Live Steve.
Hello, what WTF is from Cast, right? I don't remember the name of the podcast. Anyway, I'm just starting season 2, episode 1, and I don't know. I might live Steve it, or I might just wait and give all my thoughts at the end. Seriously, that's where you're going to go into the credits, the bus stopping at the diner again, and we don't know what's going on. Ugh. So are these opening credits a little bit different than last season? I bet they are, and somebody should do a deep dive into them. Oh, what is this suitcase that you just found? You got to be quiet. Don't wake them up. Okay, bus girl is crazy dancing in the rain. I'm confused on the timeline here because I thought the bus in last season, they arrived really close to sundown. Now it seems like we're really far away from sundown, giving them enough time to explain to these people what's going on. All right, deputy's doing pretty good. Get everybody inside. And oh, by the way, nobody touched the talisman by the door. Okay, and somebody just sent a rope down to Boyd to help him climb up the chimney that he's in. Hey, wait, is this guy's seizure, is it coinciding with what's happening underground as well? Wow. Oh, the reunion of the girlfriends. That's great. But the deputy's heart is broken again. Oh, no, Boyd. Don't be fooled by that vision of your son. That's not him. Well, I guess that's one way to assure they get inside the diner is shoot the tires out of the bus. Okay, so Boyd made it to the top of whatever chimney shaft. Who is this guy who's chained to the wall? Seriously, that's the end? I need you to kill me? Dang.
Well, Steve never disappoints, and thank you so much. We had a little problem with we got down a tree, faraway tree, so that's why our podcast is a little off this week. But we did get a piece of feedback for next week that we're going to read from our good friend over at Run for Your Lives. So could you read Daphne's email?
Sure. All right. So this is from Daphne Backman. R.I.P. Bartender Tom. I'm so sad that Tom has left us. Also dying to know what happened to the couple that took refuge in his bar. Oh, God, Smiley, what a mess you made. But at least you got the bus driver to understand how serious this shit is. Oh, yeah. And Boyd is infected with some bloodworm disease that looks like a souped-up version of the Amityville horror possession crossed with an infection from the strain. Oh, that's where that looks familiar. What from? Okay. Before we end, I just want to add in a note regarding our bartender, Tom, who is no longer with us on the show, but he's played by the very talented Reed Price. Now, Reed Price has another show that he's on called Sullivan's Crossing. Right. I just happened to read this morning that, the show is a Canadian show. I think it takes place in the US, but I'm not sure. But at any rate, it's a Canadian show and it's only been available in Canada. I always have to stop myself from saying Canada. But anyway, it will be available in the States. I'm not sure when, but it will be on the CW network and you can get it on Hulu. So I had been lamenting for a bit because we couldn't see that show and it seemed like it's a good show. So I'm glad we're going to be able to watch it. I'm really happy about that. So I wanted to share that with everybody.
Well,
let's support our From people.
Well, I'm just glad to see that, an out-of-work bartender can still get work as a bartender, even though he's opened his heart and his body to his work. Yeah. But, folks, we had him on the podcast. We'll try to get him back for a little post-game wrap-up on his experience if we can. And thanks for the hooch there, Reed/Tom. I'm really mad. I'm really mad he blew our theory. I thought he was the guy on The Voice.
It doesn't matter. He still could be. And it could be because we were all so vocal about it. They were like, we got to kill this guy off. And throw them off the scent.
It's your fault. It is your fault.
It's my fault. It's my fault.
Okay. Well, that's our show.
But what I want to say is that he still could be The Voice.
Still could be.
And it could be, well,
all right.
It could be someone else showed up to take his place. Let's just put it that way. Maybe Elgin.
Well, that's our show, and thanks for listening. If you like the podcast, and hit the subscribe button. If you want to give us a review, give us 5 stars. If you want to leave us feedback, you can leave us feedback in a couple of different ways. You can email us at fromepicspodcast@gmail.com, or on our Instagram at wfromcast, or our Twitter wfromcast, or the person that's killing it on TikTok right next to me. Our TikTok handle is whatisfromcast. While you're on the podcastica.com site, you can listen to some of our other stuff. I know they just started Mrs. Maisel. They're going to be doing a couple other things.
They're doing Yellow Jackets.
Oh yeah, we're doing Yellow Jackets. Oh
yeah,
I forgot.
You're only a part of it.
I'm doing the after show, and if you guys love Yellow Jackets, we're doing a 10-minute after the show on Sundays, which is not tonight. We do an after show, which you guys can come on. Also, we're going to be posting all this stuff on our YouTube channel. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for your support. And what's the next week's episode called?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Tether.
So next week we're going to be covering season 2, episode 3, called Tether.
It's like a sieve. Things
I know. It was a hard podcast this week. We just try to make sure we get it all great. And
the troubles and travails that we have gone through to get this recorded.
Just for you guys. But you know what, folks? At the end of the day, there's only one thing we got to say. The bell is ringing, so you better go home. See you next week.